What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel Unmanageable, and this is Hard Knox Talks. Tonight, we have the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses title sponsoring this live production, so we want to throw a huge shout out to them for generously supporting this community platform. Tonight's live production is also brought to you in part by Prairie Sky Recovery Centre, Prairie Harm Reduction, Possibilities Recovery Centre, the Elizabeth Fry Society of Saskatchewan, the Community Addiction Peer Support Association, and Stronger Together Canada peer-led support group by Moms Stop the Harm. Tonight's guest, alcoholic in recovery, Stacey Higgins, is here to tell us her story of overcoming unimaginable odds and how she found her way into the beautiful life she has today, and we are going to meet her right after this. I spent 23 years living in addiction. 16 of those years, I worked as a Red Seal tradesperson in Saskatchewan and Northern Alberta. During that time, I made many mistakes and took more than a few hard knocks. I went from tradesman to business owner to hiding from gang members and dumpster diving. But with that lived experience, I've decided to try and make a change. I've dedicated my life to raising awareness and promoting change in the fields of substance use and psychological health and safety. So join me and my guests as we take off the blinders around mental health in our communities and at work, and shine a light on what's working and what's not working in the fields of mental health and occupational health and safety. I'm Daniel Unmanageable, and I'll be your host, and this is Hard Knox Talks. Okay, here we come, Stacey. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Is there anything you'd like to say before we get started?
Just a big thank you for letting me be on this platform, and everything that you do is amazing.
Oh, well, you don't know everything that I do.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. And let's jump in. Okay, well, why don't you start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up?
Okay. So growing up for me was pretty good. My dad was in the military, so I moved around quite a lot. I went to, like different elementary schools in different countries and different high schools. And it just so happened, I think when I was in elementary school, I got a little bit of bullying that started happening. And then it moved on to high school, and high school was kind of where I didn't really fit in with people. There was lots of people that had gone to high school all together, so they all grew up together. So then you add like someone new in the mix, and then they're like, "Oh, who's this stranger? Who's this person?" So I got bullied quite a lot when I was younger and in high school as well.
Mm-hmm. So, was there substance use at home?
No, like my parents drank, like most parents, like all parent, like some parents do, like. Well, I don't know. I don't even know how to say that. Like, it wasn't like
Yeah.
they were drinking every night. You know what I mean? Like, they'd have wine on the weekend or a beer or two and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
but
it was never.
it wasn't a problem.
No, okay. And how was school? Like, you said there was some bullying and stuff. Did you make any friends or?
I did. Like, can I say I'm still friends with those people today? Probably not. But
Mm-hmm.
I made friends at the time, but there was always the inkling knowing of when my dad was going to get posted to a new country. So it was hard to make friends. And like I had a solid group of friends when I lived in Germany, but then someone new came along and then I was ditched. And then that's kind of where the bullying happened, like the name calling and just I got followed after school and people would destroy my stuff. And yeah, it wasn't very fun.
Yeah. And you moved around a lot too. You started out in England, correct? Like that's where you were born, right?
No, actually, I was born in Germany, but that's where my dad was posted at the time. And then from there, I moved to several different places in the UK. I lived in Canada, in Alberta, for a couple of years, and then Germany, England, and then finally Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Um, and you lost a friend to suicide.
Yeah, so I'm the one friend that I did make when I lived in Germany. We became really, really close in school, and then obviously when I moved back to England, she was the only person I stayed in contact with. And then when I moved here in 2007, in 2008, unfortunately, she commits suicide, which was really, really hard because I had only spoke to her 2 days prior to that actually happening. So it hit me. It hit me really hard. And that's when I took my first drink. Because, you see in movies like someone dies and people drink because apparently drinking makes everything better. And
Yeah.
I went straight for it. My dad had scotch in the wine rack, and that was my first drink, and it was horrible. Yeah, I
Scotch
think
is
I
the
drank a
worst. I'm
couple
sorry,
of
that was your first drink.
couple of shots of that, and I was not feeling so good after that. And then I was like, I am not drinking. This is horrible.
Hmm. So
And oh, go on.
no, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
So after after the first time you got loaded, um, you didn't like it. Like, did you like the feeling, or did you just hate the whole thing?
I just hate it was horrible. The taste of the scotch was horrible and the feeling and then just feeling like you want to vomit. Like, no, I did not want any of that. So then it was 2 years after that I started drinking again. Like got back
Yeah.
into, being 18 and going to parties, and
Hmm.
that's kind of where I found, oh, well, actually, scotch is gross, but there's plenty of other things that you can drink, right?
Yeah. What was your go-to?
At the bars, it was Sambuca. That was my. But it's weird because
Vegas.
I don't like licorice, but I liked the taste of that. So yeah,
Yeah. So did you graduate?
I did. Yeah, I graduated high school. I went to Evan Hardy. Yeah,
Hmm.
I graduated. I had enough. I had lots of credits, and yeah, and then I tried. I went to university for a little bit, but
Hmm.
it was hard and it was expensive, and I decided not to do that anymore.
So then what? Um, yeah. What did you do after university?
I I worked, like I had a couple of jobs here and there, and I was turned into a little bit of a party animal. I'm not gonna lie. I
Hmm.
would go out every single night of the week except Monday. Like I knew which bars to go to. I knew, and I think when I turned 19, like that was a big point too, because for a while I was totally going to the bars underage, and
Hmm.
I knew friends that were bouncers and I could get in. But when I was 19, me and my friend went to this bar, and we went before it opened so that we could get free cover, and we were drunk at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I left my friend there because these people that I hung around with invited me to this other bar that I went to, and I was so drunk. This person kept trying to grab me, and I didn't know. I was telling my friends, I'm like, this guy is trying to take me away, and I was so drunk I didn't even know it was my dad
Oh no.
that was getting me to go home because my friend was worried about me because I had left her at the bar. So I
Mm,
think honestly, like then was kind of where the blacking out and stuff was starting because I had no idea that it was him.
yeah. That happened to me with my grandfather once. he
Oh,
came and
really?
yeah, he came and pulled me out of a mud puddle. I was like 17 years old, so I can relate. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so that's when you started blacking out and stuff. So, like, did you know at the time things were going sideways, or were you just like, this is what life is supposed to be like?
No, I was like, this is what every 19-year-old does. They go out, they drink so much they don't even remember what's going on, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
I met my ex-boyfriend actually at a bar, and even he said like, yeah, like let's drink, let's have fun, let's do this, and that was good for a while until his nasty side came out when he was drinking. So I ended up, that was like very toxic, abusive relationship, all forms of abuse. And he would say to me, like, no one else wants to be with you because you drink so much, so I'm the only one that can be with you. And then it started to control my, like, you can't drink when I'm around. And so then I was hiding my drinking from him. We moved to Edmonton, and he would go away for work for a week, and I would have friends over and drink, but then I'd have to, like, hide my bottles, because if he found out, he would hit me, is basically how that was. So that was kind of a low.
Yeah. So how were you in that relationship?
It's gonna sound weird. I just thought it was normal, like, not the hitting part, but just, like, I don't know. I was happy. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And I think it was because he had such, like a hold on me mentally, that I just thought that it was normal, you know, to hide things and to do what I was doing. And I was with him for, like, over a year. And then I found out that he cheated on me, so I broke up with him and I moved back to Saskatoon. And then my dog passed away, which I'd had as a family, like as a family pet for a long time. So I went out and went to the bar, and my drink got spiked and I got raped that night, but I don't have any recollection of that night whatsoever. And then, that's kind of another spiral. Was this horrible thing happened to me, and I was in such a dark place that I went back to my ex, and then it just got worse from there on out.
Did he know what happened?
Yeah, he told me that it was my own fault, because probably because of what I was wearing or who I was associating with. And so then for the longest time, I blamed it on myself. Well, I decided to go out and get drunk, and I left my drink somewhere and wasn't watching it. So maybe it was my fault that happened, right? Yeah. Obviously, that's not what it is, but.
Yeah, we've got a couple of comments coming in here. Sharon saying, for sure, we become to believe that we are wrong. We've also got Wendy. What's up, Wendy? Wendy saying, our society normalizes binge drinking, and it shouldn't. We agree, Wendy.
Yeah. So
you ended up breaking that that relationship off in the end, correct?
Yeah, he went away, and I just decided enough was enough. So I damaged a couple of things, got on the Greyhound, and came back to Saskatoon.
You damaged a couple of things.
His Xbox. I put a hole in his tire.
Oh no.
Just the fun stuff.
Yeah, well, we all have our moments.
I know.
Is he in your step 9? No.
No, he's not.
So, okay. So then off to England you go.
Well, I came back here, like I came back to Saskatoon for a little bit, and then I was looking into it. Like, I had a job, but it was just a dead end job. And, I was just looking up flights and stuff. And I said to my mom, like, I think that I need to just get away from everything that's going on here. I need to go home and try and not be drinking and not doing this every day. So we arranged it with some family, and I got my flight over, and away I went. It's funny though, because I had tried the rooms beforehand, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I brought my big book with me to England.
Mm-hmm. So what do you mean the rooms, for those who
like
might
AA?
not? Yeah.
AA for me.
Yeah. So it didn't work, but you liked the big book. Why'd you do that?
I don't know. Still to this day, I have no idea. That thing got used as a coaster, and it got liquor spilt on it, and it was used as whatever. But for some reason, it was handy.
Just followed you around.
Yep.
So tell us about England. How was England?
So England was good. The first little bit, I was living with family, and, I was just going. It was a seaside town, so I would just go down to the beach, and, and I wasn't drinking. My cousin had invited me out a couple of times, and I said no, I didn't want to. And then one time I got invited out, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll just go out and see, and, try and be normal and have a couple of drinks, right? Mm-hmm. And that the first time was fine. I had a couple of drinks, came home, and I was okay. And then I got to know a group of people and became friends with them. And then I was pool tournaments, and you drink and you go play darts and you drink. And
Were you any good?
couple of I think I was good at darts. Pool, yeah, like I was good at pool. Darts, and we'll see. But
Yeah.
um, it was just, in England, there is pubs everywhere, right? There's a lot of drinking in England. So you go out and you're going to a pub and you're not sitting there having an orange juice, you're having a beer or you're having wine or whatever you want. So that's when the old habits just like started again. So I was drinking and being sick because I was drinking so much and not eating,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where I started to spiral again. And I had a job and I met a guy at that job, so I got into a relationship with him, and there just came to a point where I was not helping my family's health, and I was basically they helped me so much. They tried to help me as much as they could, but because of the place that I was in, I didn't want help from anyone, right? So that's when I left living with them and moved
Yeah.
somewhere else. Like just was, bouncing around and lived with that ex-boyfriend and stuff.
So, how long was it from the time that you started drinking over there? Like you said, it was like a weekend thing until it turned into a daily thing and became problematic. Like, what was kind of time frame was that?
Like a couple of weeks. I think
Oh.
it was like 4.5 weeks
Mm-hmm.
from being there to starting to just be drinking all the time and meeting people and getting involved with the wrong crowd. And
Mm-hmm.
especially being young, like I was 19, so everyone was out partying. And in
Looking for
England,
trouble.
there's so many establishments. Like there was one place you would go till 2, and then they had a nightclub that was open from 2 to 5 a.m. And then after that, you go to the casino till 7 a.m. and then you go home and sleep it off and you start all over again. And that's what I was doing like 3 days out of the week.
Mm-hmm. So, did you leave your relative's place or did they kick you out?
I left.
Okay.
I left my relative's place, and then I
Mm-hmm.
moved in with my boyfriend at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I was with him, and he was drinking, so I was drinking. We were just drinking together, and then I met other people, and I would party with them and hang out with them. And then Halloween, I don't know why, but I decided I'm not drinking. Everyone else, I'll be responsible for everyone else. So that's what I did. So Halloween 2012, we were drinking at my boyfriend's house at the time, and then they were like, "Let's go out." I was like, "I don't really want to. Like, let's just everyone drink here." And my boyfriend said, "No, no, let's go out." I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll go out." Um, and then so we went out and everyone was drinking. And then I got into an argument with my boyfriend and he stormed off somewhere. And then I couldn't find him. So I went looking for him. And then I couldn't find him. He wasn't answering his phone. So I just decided to take a leisurely stroll down to the beach to see what was happening down there on Halloween. And I noticed like two guys behind me kind of like staying in the shadows and following me. So I sped up my walking, and I had my phone in my hand, and I was going down the bridge, and the one guy like came up behind me really fast and like tripped me over. And then the other guy hit me in the head, and then they sexually assaulted me. And then I passed out. I don't know if I passed out from shock or what it was, adrenaline, I don't know, but I passed out. And when I woke up, I didn't know where I was, and I could hear people. And this lady was like, "Oh, look, it's a drunk under there. Don't go near her." When I was trying to like reach out for help and try and like get someone's attention. And so I went through like the police and stuff with that. And then I went back to my boyfriend and told him, and he didn't even believe that it had happened.
Mm.
So he just thought I'd gotten drunk and gone off with whoever, but that was not the case. And then that that was another turning point, but it was a big turning point for me because I was sober when it happened, so I remember everything.
Yeah. Um, did you seek any services after that had happened? Like, did you?
Yeah, so in England, where I lived, I founded this charity. It's called Hope. It was called Hope. They're not around anymore. And it was healing our past experiences. And they had a center there, and you got free counseling, and you could go, and they had therapies, and you could just go and socialize with other people that had been through, whether it was sexual assault as a child or from rape or anything like that. So that was a huge help. I mean, I was still drinking to cope with my pain inside, but I owe a lot to them. They helped me through so much that I was going through at that time, but it wasn't enough, right? Alcohol made me feel normal for whatever second it was and took all the bad thoughts and everything away from my mind. So
Hmm.
yeah, I was drinking a lot more then.
Yeah. And then you had an accident.
Yeah, so 2 weeks after my sexual assault, I went out. My boyfriend was at work and I said I was going out. So I went out and I got very, 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 very drunk. So drunk that I actually didn't remember where I lived. So I was just walking around. And so there was this bridge, and it was actually known as a suicide bridge because people used to jump off the top. But underneath, there was like little almost like little alley tunnel things. So
Hmm.
I climbed up, and it was a 2 foot side that I climbed up, and I just sat there, had a cigarette, and then I passed out. I don't remember, like I must have passed out. And then when I woke up, I was I was hungover. I was probably still drunk and I didn't really know where I was. So I started climbing down thinking it was the 2 foot side, and I actually fell 11 feet and landed on concrete. Uh, when I came to, I was all kind of like I was disorientated and I was all like mangled and weird. And I reached for my phone and my phone had smashed. So I had no way. And I was like to myself, this is how I die. I'm going to die here. No one's going to find me. It's early in the morning. And in England, when you drink and you pass, because I would pass out everywhere, back alleys, whatever. The ambulance, they'll come. They have people that come around. They'll give you a pillow and give you a cup of tea and stuff, and then they'll call 999. It is in England, and then they take you to the hospital. They let you sleep it off, and then they send you home the next day. So it was a guy that was walking his dog that actually found me and called emergency services, and the paramedic team that showed up, we're like, oh yeah, it's Stacey. She's a regular. She uses the ambulance service all the time. Didn't really believe what was going on. Put me on a stretcher, took me to the hospital, and the hospital gave me crutches and sent me on my way. And I lived about 20 minutes away from the hospital, and it when I finally remembered where I lived, and it took me about an hour to get home, dragging my leg.
Hmm.
And
So this wasn't
oh,
just like a simple injury. I mean, you broke your hip. I mean, when we talked last week, you said like you could see the bone poking. Like this was
you could
serious.
see it at the skin, like it was bad. And I don't know what was going through their minds. Obviously not professional at all, but it was like it was bulging out how it wasn't supposed to be bulging out. And I got home, my boyfriend was like, where have you been? I've been calling you. I was like, I just want to go to bed. Run me a bath. I want to go to bed. So he ran me a bath, and then I was just in excruciating pain, and my leg was all purple. And he was like, what happened? I was like, oh, I fell. It's nothing to worry about. I just fell off a thing, whatever. And he's like, no, like this is bad. Like you need to go back to the house. Like they already sent me home. They gave me crutches. They sent me on my way. And he called them back, and they came and they took me on a chair down the stairs of the apartment, and brought me back to the hospital. And they were like, like it was a switchover of team. They were like, you should never have gone. They sent me through the x-ray straight away. They said, your hip's broken in 3 places. You fractured your pelvis. Like I had internal bleeding. Like, no. So I was hooked up to a numerous amount of drugs and whatever. And I had to get surgery the next day. So it was, what was it, like 12, 13 hour surgery, blood transfusion. yeah, it was a 2.5 day period that I only have snippets of, that I don't
Yeah.
remember the full, because it was intense.
So, how were you after that? Like, did you get sober after that?
I was sober for a month off of alcohol when I was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have anywhere to go. I was on crutches. I had to learn how to walk again. 3 days after surgery, they were like, "Okay, let's go, start walking."
Hmm.
I was on the geriatrics ward because breaking a hip is not really common for a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I was on 6 or 7 different types of drugs. I had to stick needles in my stomach, like blood thinners, I think it was. I had to wear compression socks. So I was sober from alcohol. Meanwhile, being an addict, my addictive side, I got kind of addicted to the morphine and just
Mm-hmm.
drugs in general from that.
Mm-hmm.
So after a month, they were like, "Okay, time to go." At first, actually, they kept me in a little bit because they thought I had tried to kill myself. So I had to wait. My partner had to sign off and say that wasn't the case, and they had to go and put special stuff in his house, so I could get up the stairs and use the bathroom and use the bathtub,
Mm-hmm.
and like drugs in England are that they're a lot different from here. There's this one type of, I'm not going to say the name, but there's this one type of drug in England that's just like it's like a paste, and it's really easy to get a hold of. And I guess while I had been in hospital, my boyfriend had took up that. So I,
Are we
I
talking
was giving,
like an opiate or a stimulant? Like, what are we talking about here?
I don't know. I just know the name of it. I don't even know. It makes you tired, I guess. So,
Hmm.
but it was, and then I was trading. Oh, here, do you want one of these for some of that, like in my own relationship at home? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, and then all the drugs that come along with that, like weed. Weed is huge in England, but it's still illegal there. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was spiraling again. It was a very, very dark. I don't talk about it too often. It's a lot of, lots of people don't know about that. But that's, again, I want to talk to people about it and help.
Yeah.
So,
So you're back at home. Is your boyfriend caring for you at this point? Are you just like on your own? How are you getting through the day?
he was caring for me until he started using drugs really badly and he started turning mean. There was his friend also lived at home and he would help me a lot more than my boyfriend would. Just with like getting around or getting to appointments, checkups at the hospital and stuff. And he actually got really loaded one night and pushed me down the stairs. And then that's when I had to get out of that situation. So that's when I kind of became homeless because I would sleep on people's couches that I had met at the bar and through that charity organization, but then I would be staying in hostels for nights. And in England, they have bed and breakfast. So you stay there, sleep there, you can have food in the morning, but then you have to get your stuff and leave. So I think in that time space, I stayed at about 4 or 5 of those until I put my name down and got myself a place because I was on disability then. So I needed somewhere to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got into it was just like a block of apartments that people that didn't make a lot of money or people on disability could live in. So I got my own place and it was great. It was a party house. Everyone came,
Were you
sold
still
their drugs, did drugs, whatever.
were you still on crutches at this time or?
Yeah, I was on 2 crutches. I was on crutches, going to the bar, coat checking my crutches and standing by the bar station and drinking and trying to hobble dance. And
Oh, just giving her.
yeah, it just didn't stop me. I craved the attention that I got from people when I drank, and people
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be my friend when I drank. So that's what I did, right?
Hmm. Okay. So how long were you in this place? I mean, at some point, like, tell us how your father found out about this and found out, like, he found out where you lived and he came and found you in England all the way from Canada.
Yeah, so I was back in contact with my family again, and I told them that I had found somewhere to live. So I was there from January to March in that apartment. And then there was this one night where I'd had people over and I had blacked out. And when I woke up, all my stuff was gone. And I mean, like my microwave, my toaster, my clothes, like just me and the couch. My phone was stolen, my laptop, like everything was gone. And um, I had managed to use someone else's phone. I had made a close friend through the charity organization. She's still my best friend to this day. Her name's Emily, and she came over and hung out with me. And then I guess she had spoken to my family and told them how bad things were going. So then they had contacted my dad. And at this point, I had absolutely no idea what was going on. And woke up one morning and someone was knocking on my door. And I looked down and I had to take a double take because my dad was stood outside of my apartment trying to get in, and I had absolutely no idea how he had found out or anything.
How'd you feel in that moment? Were you like relieved or were you like, oh shit, he found me?
Yeah, no, I was like, oh shit, oh shit, he found me. He's going to see how bad things are.
Yeah.
Oh God. And
Yeah.
I wasn't eating. I lost so much weight. All I was doing was drinking, right?
Hmm.
And I was like trying to clean up. I was trying to put all the empties in bags and hide everything.
Hmm.
And then I didn't like when he came up. I was like, nope, I'm not going back. I don't want to. Like, I'm fine. It's not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as it's. No, I'm not leaving. I don't want to come home with you.
Hmm.
Um, he had to kind of take me to a different town away from the situation that was going on and don't talk to anyone. And we spent like I think it was 2 or 3 days together talking about things. He's like, no, like you need to come home. You need to get your shit together. Like you're gonna end up dying. You're gonna die. You're gonna drink yourself to death. Like we don't want to lose you. We miss you. We want to be here for you. So
Yeah.
even though I missed my friend, I was like, nope, I need to go. So that's when
Hmm.
I made the decision to come back to Saskatoon.
Got a comment coming in. Sarah says, thank you for the comment, Sarah. Now, as parents, we completely get it. You know exactly now why and how he found you.
It's my best friend.
Oh, glad you're here, Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay, so dad shows up. Dad's scared, rightfully so. Um, Now you're on your way back to Canada. Did you just jump ship? You're like, finally, you're like, okay, let's go. And next thing you know, you're on the plane, or how did that
Yeah.
transpire?
I Everything that was left, I gave away or sold. I packed up all my stuff. I spent my last night with my friend Emily. We didn't drink. We got pizza and fries or chips as they are back home and some pop. And we sat and we spoke. And she said, you got to do this. Like, I'm going to miss you and I'll come see you. But in the place that you're at, you need help. You need to go be with your family. You need to go home. So we hung out for the last night and then I said goodbye. And me and my dad got on the train and went and visited a family friend and then flew back to Saskatoon.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if it's like my mind or whatever, but I actually do not remember coming back. That whole
Yeah.
after leaving and it was a blur. I
Mm-hmm.
was still on my crutches. I was still in pain. I also had like a break in my hand, so I was wearing a cast on my hand. And I think a mixture of like not drinking, withdrawing, and everything just happening all at once. I don't actually remember a lot about coming back.
Mm.
Um,
So what was it like? Like when you got off the plane in Canada, you settled in. What was that? It? Were you done drinking?
no, there was, old friends that I hadn't seen in a while. So there was two more times. There was one time I went out to a friend's and, blacked out and don't really remember and got in trouble for that. And then the last time was I had manipulated my friend into taking me over to this house because I didn't have my license, so I needed a way to get to this party that I was going to, and told her like, "Oh, we'll just be there for 20 minutes. I'm just going to say hi." And
Mm.
I went inside, and obviously she was in her car, and then that was a lie, and she ended up leaving. And then I don't remember a lot about that night. I just remember having a couple of drinks, and then my friend coming back, and I guess I passed out on the driveway, and I wasn't breathing, and the people that were there came out, saw me, went back in, and they were carried on partying. She told me that she started doing CPR on me, and she called 911, and they took me to the hospital. And again, this is a blur because I don't remember a lot of it, but I know that my parents were away and they came back from their trip, and I was in the hospital, and I didn't want to be alive anymore. I said to them, I said, as soon as I leave here, I'm just going to drink. I'm probably going to drink myself to death. Like I think all the years of the bullying and everything else, and it just took a toll on me. I just didn't. My drinking wasn't for fun anymore. It was for pain and depression, and I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be around anymore. I think at that point they were like, well, talking about, the debate and all these things. And they were like, like, have you ever heard of treatment or detox? And I'm like, I am not an alcoholic. I am not that far down that I have to go and get treatment. They were like, no, like you should probably just, and they told me about the debate center in Saskatoon. And I was like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'll go, but I'm going to go and then drink afterwards. Right. And so I had to wait 2 days, 2 days at home, 2 days sober. And then I went and went there, and I was there for almost 2 weeks, I think, in the debate center, not the debate center, sorry, at Lawson House. And wow, I learned so much about myself. The people I was with were amazing. I learned that, it can be hereditary, and it's just, it's a feelings disease, and there's just so much more to alcoholism. But I still did not think I was an alcoholic. I just thought, yeah, I binge drink. I'm a binge drinker. I was 20, I was 21 when I quit. Like I was 21 when I sobered up. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just binging. But no, I was an alcoholic.
Mm. So, and that was it for you? That's when you put it down?
Yeah, it took me to nearly lose my life to be like, you need to smarten up, because if you don't, you're going to drink and you're not going to wake up, and your family's going to be burying you. And I did not want that. I didn't want my family to have to bury their daughter. So yeah, no, I, that was it. But it wasn't easy. I can tell you that.
We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
Got a comment coming in here from our friend Mark. Thanks for the comment, Mark. Mark says, as addicts, we seem to isolate from family. Guilt and shame is a bugger. Family will always be there when your so-called friends won't. So,
Yep.
Stacey, tell us about your first year in recovery.
So when I was in Lawson House, that's when there's people that come in and do AA meetings, and that's where I discovered AA. And as soon as I got out, I was like, right, I am getting stuck into this. I was doing 4 to 5 meetings a week. I'm kind of extroverted, so they always in the beginning they're like, like just listen and see what you need. I was like, nope, I need to start talking. I need to figure out what's wrong with me and get cured, because I don't want to be like this anymore. That was my attitude. And I had a few people put me in place when I first came in. They're like, you don't get cured. You don't do these steps, and then that's it. This is it for life. If you want to go back out, go ahead. We'll still be here for you if you do. But if you want to stay sober, then so I I stayed sober. However, I still went out. I don't know why. There was a couple, I think it was 2 or 3 times. I still went out to the bar, turned my phone off, but I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoking weed. I wasn't doing anything. I just craved still the attention, I think it was. People liked me. I wasn't drinking. I don't know what they were feeling about that, but I I wasn't it's weird. I don't even know how to explain it. I just was still craved that. I was 21. I still craved it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my first year was difficult for that, and I had burned bridges with family. I had burned bridges with friends, and I had my mum, dad, sister, and me. That was it for my first, and then my friend back home. But that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I joined. I found a meeting to be my home group, and I joined there. And when I got my 1 year, that was probably one of the greatest achievements ever. Was wow, I did it. I was sober for a year. Yay me.
Yeah. So was that first year? Because I know, like, when I took my first year, like, I was expecting, like, when I woke up on day 366, like, my life was, everything's different now. I'm amazing. Like, what was that like for you? Like, were you expecting, like, that time passed and you're still the same? How did you handle that?
I was expecting, yes, I've turned a year. I'm not going to crave alcohol anymore. I'm
No.
not going to want to go out to the bars. I'm not going to want to. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it is. I had to live my life as a
Mm-hmm.
recovering alcoholic at the age of 21. And people, oh, you're 21, you're not an alcoholic. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
is going out every single day of the week normal? Is blacking out every time I drink normal? Not remembering things? No, that's not normal. That's not going out and having a couple of glasses of wine and coming home, whatever, right? No, mine was drinking until I pass out, drinking until I black out, not knowing how many drinks I've had. Like that is to me an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
So and it became a norm. My meetings, I would go to my meetings. At that point, I was going to meetings 3 times a week, and that was my norm. And then 22, I turned 22. I had friends in the program come out to a restaurant, and we all had virgin drinks, and everything was. I was just like, yes, this is the way it is. And then I fell pregnant and had my daughter when I was in my first year and a half of recovery, which
Wow.
was huge.
How was that?
Oh, it was scary. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm 22.
Yeah.
I I'm pregnant. I'm in recovery. Like am I going to want to drink afterwards because it's so stressful?
Mm-hmm.
I broke my hip. Can I even carry a child?
Mm-hmm.
uh
So
like
were you in a relationship? Like, did you get into a relationship, or was this sort of just something that happened by accident?
I was seeing someone. We weren't in a relationship. It was a happy accident.
Okay.
um that is my partner to this day,
So good.
but we weren't together, and we weren't together for like the first year and a half of her life, but
Mm-hmm.
we made it work and we became friends, and now we're a happy couple. So yeah.
So tell us, what are some things that you did in early recovery to, like, to cope? Because, like, I mean, I know how the thoughts go, right? Like, it can get pretty dark and things can go pretty sideways. If there's anyone out there that's struggling tonight or just coming into the rooms or whatever their case is, like, what would you recommend to them that worked for you?
I got a lot of phone numbers. Like I said, I'm extroverted, so I need to speak all the time. I need to talk to people. So for me, a big help was finding people my age that were, and even people that were older than me. Lots of my mentors are so much older than me and wiser. But, just finding a group of people that I could go out with, bowling, play pool, but we didn't have to drink to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And like the big book in AA, that was a huge help. The one I took with me and used
You
for
still have
everything
it?
but what it was for. I do still have it. That's my
Wow.
big book.
I should have. Yeah, I wish I would have known that. I would have been like, bring it with you and show the people.
It's got some stains and some stories that I've, but I have it, it was there for a reason, right? I still have that book. And yeah, just being around. I mean, I know it's really hard with COVID, and it was hard for a lot of people with COVID being around people, but just meetings and people, and even online, there's so much stuff online that I used in my first couple of years of recovery, whether it was celebrities speaking on it or anyone, like just the tools that there are so many tools out there that we can use. So those for me are a huge, huge, huge help.
So how long you been sober now?
So in August 13th this year will be 9 years for me.
Right on.
With no relapses or anything. It's just been straight 9 years.
9 years in a row.
Yep.
So tell us, what are some of the biggest things that your new life has brought you?
I now have 2 kids. I have my daughter who is turning 7 next month. I also have my son is 20 months old tomorrow. I'm in a amazing relationship with someone that I know will never hit me or hurt me. I have my family, my extended family. I've mended as many bridges as I can with people. And my sobriety, that is a huge accomplishment for me. I don't do as many. I do like 1 or 2 meetings a week now because I'm also working. I have a really, really good job and I love it. And I'm saving for school as well. So that's good. But also just people. I've met so many amazing people through being sober that I never thought I would meet any. Like, I'm friends with doctors and surgeons and bankers and whatever. And it's like, when I was drinking, none of those people would have even wanted to look at me. So I have a huge sobriety network, and yeah, it's amazing. And helping others, that's also one of my biggest gifts that I've gotten, is that I can do this and do other things to help people get clean and sober and share my story with people.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go into the viewer's voice and look at some comments and chat some more.
Sounds good.
We've got a comment from Jill. Thanks, Jill. Jill says the geographical cure can be good to get away, but wherever you go, there you are. Is that true, Stacey?
Yep. It's like you can't escape. It doesn't matter. You could go and live in the middle of nowhere. There's always going to be something that you'll use or do to get basically what you need when you're in your addiction, right? So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. We've got Mark saying, as addicts, we seem to isolate. Oh, I already put that one up. Sorry, wrong one. Abort. Here we go. Here's a different one. Mark says, every addict has their own breaking point, and you'll know it when you know it. Just like a roller coaster goes up and down, eventually you have to get off the ride.
Yeah, well, as you heard from my story, I had plenty of rock bottoms, but it came that I almost lost my life. It is. I got off the ride and got on a new one that didn't involve drinking or using.
Yeah, just as wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
Life.
In fact,
life happens. Things happen still.
In fact, the new ride might even be even more wild, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I just don't have to drink and use to get over that, right?
Yeah. No, there's more opportunities to make better decisions, is what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got Trisha chiming in. Trisha, thanks for the comment. Trisha says, thank you for sharing your story, Stacey. You have blossomed into such a beautiful soul and are an inspiration to many people. You go, girl. You go.
Awesome.
We've got Joe saying, what's up, Joe? Good to see you. Last week's guest. Joe says, it took my dying to find bottom. That's doesn't get much
See a
lower than
trend.
that, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see a trend happening, yeah. And then finally we have Jill, my friend. Jill, good to see you. Jill says, I remember our sober parties, Halloween dress up, karaoke and dance parties. Fun is essential in recovery too, and you and my sober friends I found were part of that. Needed it. You know Jill, Stacey?
Yeah, I do. I do very well. Yeah, we had in the beginning, couple first years of sobriety, we had some, like 80s themed potluck karaoke nights.
Oh
And
my.
yeah, you definitely need to be around people. When My advice is, when you're younger, you don't have, like, when you quit, you don't have to quit everything. You can still have fun being sober. We would go play pool, we'd have potlucks, we'd make virgin cocktails, whatever. You can still have fun. For me personally, I don't have to drink and use. I can, I went to so many New Year's Eve parties in the programs, NA and AA, ringing in the New Year sober. That's amazing. No hangover the next day. It's great.
I don't think, like, I've been to a couple of those, but I don't think since I cleaned up that I have ever seen midnight on New Year's Eve. It's like, I don't need to do that anymore. So I know it's going to be next year. Oh. So, getting hugs.
Aw.
What's up, kiddo?
I love you, Daddy.
Oh, I love you too, buddy. Just about done.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Another gift of sobriety,
Definitely,
right? Your kids
definitely.
don't have to see you the way you were, and and my family too. It's great.
Yeah. So the comments are dying down. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with tonight?
Well, that's a difficult one. Just, if you're struggling and you need help, please, please, please do not be afraid to reach out. I didn't reach out, and thankfully I had family that helped me to get where I needed to be. But, there's lots of things that I talked about that are very, you shouldn't talk about those things. And I'm like, nope, I will say that I was sexually assaulted and I was beat up and stuff like that, because in this day you need to, just with, overdoses and stuff like that. So my advice is, if you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. And, sobriety is one of the best gifts ever. And if I can help people from this podcast, or if people can decide, I quit from this podcast and go to a meeting, then good for you. I 100% am behind anyone that does that. I'm just, like I said, best gift ever is my sobriety, my family, and helping others. And yeah, I'm so thankful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, strength, and hope, Stacey. Take care, my friend.
Yep. Yeah, you too. Bye.
Okay, don't forget to stick around after the closing credits. We're going to spin that wheel. There is power in numbers. If you would like to contribute to ending the stigma around emotional pain, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. Like and comment your thoughts on our posts. Let us come together with our living experience as a resource that has the power to engage new thought processes, to promote new ideas, to broaden the spectrum of care, and to show the world that we can recover. There is a safer way, and we're here to show you how. Good night. wheel and the music. Let's do this.
There's some more names to put on the wheel, and Maggie is going to tell them. We have Michelle, B-O-B-Y-K. What's up, Michelle? Good to see you. Donna Marie on the wheel. Doris, little mama, what's up, Doris? Okay, Doris on the wheel. Noreen. Awesome. Okay, Noreen, we got you on the wheel. Everyone's on there. That's it. Grady, come here. Come spin the wheel. We have a resident wheel spinner. I can't spin the wheel if he's in the house. Here he comes.